164, 164 in Manteca, and their names are up there. Let me just clear something off my screen. Later, we held our individual championships in September, and I indicated again who the winners were there. So if you see any names that are recognizable and they're in your branch, I would suggest you might want to do a little additional recognition. We will be supplying them with award jackets or jackets or shirts here very soon. Overall, our participation in these events was about 40% lower than normal. We had numbers that were at both the qualifying and at the final events, about 60% of what we had gotten in past years. So we're hoping to change that in 2022, but I guess we'll see. The Fall Classic, as I mentioned, was canceled. That was held would have been held in Napa. We would have hoped to have had 50% participation. We held another event later in the year, and I'll talk about, well, actually, I'm talking about it now. This was the one that was going to be held in the spring. We held it in the fall at Napa. We had about 50% of our normal participation. Generally, we got great reviews, and everybody liked the tournament and wants to go back to those courses. The course was happy to have us back, and I'll talk about that a little later, is where we're going to be for 2022 with that. Just recently, we held our Fall Classic, or in this case was a holiday tournament, we called it, in Stockton. 2 courses there. Again, we had a marginal turnout, down 50 to 70% from the prior year, with, as you can see, the numbers on the screen. As I mentioned previously, the Spring Classic in Napa that eventually became the fall, as well as the Reno tournament, which is highly desired by many people, we canceled because of concerns and vaccination issues and hotel policies. We just were not clear that we could have the event and ensure player health and participation. So our challenges going forward for the state committee, and I think golf in general this year, are we need more volunteers at helping to run events or start golf clubs and branches if necessary. So any of you who want to volunteer, please get in touch with me, or if you want to talk about volunteering, get in touch with your your branch golf leadership. I know that they'll want and would like to have assistance from more volunteers. One of the biggest issues we heard throughout the year was communication. Many people did not know, the protocols on the golf, numerous questions about that. Many wanted to know whether they were going to be holding tournaments or not. We had posted much of this information on our state golf website and had passed around through emails and through the area and regional golf chairs the information, but we're going to have to improve on that. It's obvious that our communication is still lacking. I've got people at the last tournaments that told me they didn't know about it until a couple of weeks before. So it's going to be a key theme going into 2020 to improve our communication, and I'll talk about it a little bit with our website, how we hope to do that. And participation is going to be an issue we get challenged. We've got to get more golfers to participate in our state golf events, but just in golf in general. I think it's certainly a great activity, and it's certainly one that we can use to recruit with. The levels, as I mentioned previously, were down. We were lucky to get 50% of what we did in prior years. And then finally, a challenge I think we're going to have to work on this year is to get branch BECs, branch golf, and state golf leadership all together and working on getting some great golf events established. We've got our typical menu, and I'm going to show it to you here, or our plans for 2020 are, but we think we can expand upon it at the branch and at the state level. We know it's a recruiting tool, and the more and better golf events we have, the better likelihood we do to have a successful recruiting at the branch level. So here's our preliminary schedule for 2022 for our tournaments. And I say preliminary, some of the dates are still being finalized. We've had to work on contracts, and there's a lot of demand now for golf. Some of the dates we've typically used before are not available, and some of the rates are still being in question as to what we'll actually have to pay for green fees. But here's what we got so far set up. The Spring Classic, again, go back again to Napa, and that's going to be held in April. Date to still be determined, but definitely in April. The team championship qualifiers will again start in May, not June, as has been held in previous years. The individual golf championships qualifying will start in June, and those again will be ran initially by our area golf chairs at the state level as to the team qualifying. Reno is coming back. We have a contract. We haven't not final signed it, and really we haven't because we're still trying to determine whether we'll be in the second or fourth week of June up there. But we definitely are going back to Reno. It'll be a 3-day event, 3 days of golf with the options of playing either 1, 2, or 3 days, and the stay will be appropriate as well. It'll start on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with the final departure day being Friday. So as has been held mostly as in the past with a opening meet and greet, and then a final banquet on the last night. That's how we're going to be doing it again once we determine whether it's the second or fourth week of June. And I might add back to the Spring Classic, the first one, same thing. We're going to hold that as a 2-day event, but you can play one or both days, depending on your desire and course. The team championship finals will again be held at Rancho Solano. That's in Fairfield, for some that don't know, on August 9th. That is a course that's been highly desired. We've got nothing but raves about the golfers that play that at the team championships the last 3 years. So to that end, we've decided to move the individual final championships to the same course, and that'll be held on Tuesday, October 12th. Our Fall Classic is at this point going to be held in September. We have not determined a date or course. We've got some in mind, but we're still working on that. So that will be published at a later date. Other tournaments we're being considering running typically by region. We'll probably have a regional and invite other regions to participate. Would be to look at additional scrambles. We've gotten feedback from the golfers that they like to play scrambles. And so we're going to look to having 1 or 2 more scrambles, and then a couples golf tournament hosted in conjunction with interested branches, both the scramble and the couples events. And we've got a couple ideas of venues for that as well, but nothing finalized as of yet. So that is our 2022 schedule. Again, somewhat tentative in some respects. Our desire is to have this finalized by the December 1st date and published out on the state golf website. So I wanted to give you some update on some NCGA news for those of you that don't get the emails or don't happen to pick them up. The dues for 2022 are going to remain the same, and they're due by the 1st of January 2022. Starting in 2022, the golf magazine that many of us get will no longer be mailed. It's going to be an electronic distribution or out on their website. So if you have members that are wondering what's happening, they should have been notified already, but in case they don't catch email, that's going to be happening, and that's information to be passed along. And NCGA has also added additional benefits to all members who have an NCGA membership. So that information is out on their state, the NCGA website. So look beyond what they used to have. Key thing here for those golf programs that are using a product called Golf Genius to run their golf tournaments, tournament management, the TM there, you might see it, is that relationship's being severed with Golf Genius by NCGA effective 12/31 of this year. your golf program should have gotten information on this, but if not, they should become aware of that. They can't continue to use it. They'll have to contact Golf Genius directly to use it. NCGA will no longer be supplying it for free. In its place, NCGA is going to be supplying a tournament management piece of software, a program called Blue Golf. And that'll become effective on January 1st, 2022. The online training for Blue Golf just started, and you can sign up online at the NCGA site. It's very short in duration, I guess I'll put it that way, but they do have multiple sessions. The feedback I've gotten from a couple of guys I've heard about that have attended, there's certainly more questions to be had on it. You do, once you attend, are given the ability to get in and use the product and start to learn and train yourself on how to use it. The State Golf Committee is in discussion with NCGA to try to set up additional training sessions for SIR only members. So we'll give you an update in the coming weeks if that's successful or not. Okay, the State Golf website, I've mentioned it a couple of times. We made some significant changes in 2021 to bring it up to what I considered par. I believe Richard Provost is out there in the audience. He was the one that started it. Pete Morelli on our committee is taking it forward, and help from Alan Baker and Dean Steichen. We've applied branding style changes and conforming to the InfoSys standards of state organization and more. That is a work in progress. We've still got more we're working on to do with that. I'm going to show it to you here in a second. And today we're announcing sirgolf.org. That's something we went ahead and put in place a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully it's an easier way to get to the state golf website. We got consistent feedback from a lot of golfers and a lot of people that they could never get to our website. They had difficulty navigating it, or they didn't know what the URL was, the thing you type in to get to it. So going forward, if you type in www.sirgolf.org, you get to the state golf website. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and stop this share, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through very quickly that website. So you can use any browser. I just happen to be in the Google's. And this is how you get into it. This is what we're going to walk through. Andy, just to confirm, you can see it okay?
We can see it fine.
Okay. I intentionally did this. If you notice, it's www.sirgolf.com. If you hit that, you're going to get this. So don't do that. You don't want to use sir.com. It's .org. This is what it looks like. And it's been pretty much a lot like this most of the year. We're still working on a couple of changes and I think improvements, but I wanted to walk you through a couple of key things. One, if you scroll down, let me get this out of the way. You can scroll down and you can see there's much more here. And this is pretty much a list of all of our 2021 events with all registration forms and other information is applied. So if you click on any of this information, you will be taken directly to what you would have needed to do to find out more information about the event, as well as the application, as well as the waiver information we were requiring. Above the top, that's where I'm at up here. That was the home. The golf committee, if you go to golf committee, you would see who a golf committee was for 2021. And we have it set up. So if you want to talk to anybody on our committee, all you've got to do is, they can see the phone number, obviously, but you could just click on their email address and you would have been able to go and send them an email, which would have made it easy to contact anybody from myself to the operations chair, Pete Morelli over there. down to, you can see the regional golf chairs and who they were. We've got a couple of vacancies. I'm glad to announce that Region 4 is now filled with Ray Gilchrist, who'll be taking over in Region 4 here starting in 2022. Down here at the bottom, every one of the areas, as you notice, is listed. And it says, if like it notates, if you click on an area, you would find out who the area golf chairman of your area is. So for instance, if I clicked on area 4, that would give me this Don Fuller, his phone number, and the email address. And again, if I wanted to get to him, all I need to do is click on his email address and I can send him an email. Going again against the top, newsletters, I must admit we need to improve on that. We're going to do hopefully a much better job of communicating, and newsletters is the first place we're going to start in 2022. Minutes are all posted of all of our state golf committee meetings. We do have a calendar, and it's based right now, obviously, out of last year or currently this year. We'll stop populating that with all of our events and including qualifying, golf committee meetings, tournaments, any other the event and information. And if you click on just the event, it drills you down to more information about the event and even takes you to more details as well. So I'm not going to belabor that, but you can drill down and get more additional information on the event. Excuse me, I just got a phone call. Put it on mute. So anyway, we'll be getting that set up for 2022 here in December. State results, we're often getting calls, where's our results for the event? Every one of these events we held this year is listed with the results by tournament, most recent, and then going back. So anybody can find out anything as to who did what in what tournament. Regional information, that's something we get from regions. If they supply us with the results, we need to work on that. It's incomplete, and I think it's out of date. Manuals and forms. Titling probably isn't the best there, but I wanted to show you this for one reason. In here, we have a list of all golf members in SUR golf clubs. We used to get that automatically from NCGA. They stopped about 3 years ago. We've tried to get that. We've had numerous meetings and failed miserably. What we have done is ask all branch golf programs to supply us with a list of their golf members in their golf program, such that we can go ahead and put it into this list and they can look at it. It can be used to contact people, but it also primarily can be used to form teams or just to know who's in a golf program. So this is an effort that we're on and we're working on. We're about 50% complete. I know Rick Kendall has tried to help us with this. We're still hopefully going to get the other 50%. But if you can do anything to help us, we'd appreciate it. Get in touch with me or Pete Morelli, again, listed up under the golf committee, and we would appreciate it to help work on that. Moving along, the feather in the cap, that's an award that we have for any golfer who shoots his age or gets a hole-in-one. And if they do, they submit this form right here, the Form 7, and in turn, we will supply the leader of the golf program, the chair, with an award to give the golfer. So that is something that hasn't been very used the last, obviously, going on a year now because of golf being somewhat limited, just coming back, obviously, but we've not gotten the volume we've had in the past. But this is how you go about getting an award like that. Once again, for shooting your golf, shooting your age, or for a hole-in-one. And the criteria is all mentioned down in the body of this note. I'm going to skip over here to About SUR. I think this is a valuable write-up about SUR Golf. You might want to read it over and consider putting it in any kind of promotional recruiting material you might want to put together at a branch level. It pretty much details what we've done over the past, what we're doing, and gives any prospective new member a good idea of what SUR Golf's all about. I do note that the link in here that I'm kind of pointing towards right now, if you can see it, is outdated. We'll change that here to the new link I just talked to you about, www.surgolf.org here in the coming weeks. And then finally, I wanted to go over this links. We did a lot of work in this area, trying to put together what we thought were key ways to get to information for golf programs. So as you can see, here's an explanation, and to the right of it's a link to NCGA's website. Here, Member Planet, which is the device used to sign up members for NCGA membership, as well as for paying for golf tournaments if you use that in that way. Again, I'm not going to go over all of it. USGA, a lot of the rules are all calculated there. The Index Gen admin portal is all there, a link right to it. Scoring and posting of your handicap, looking up handicaps. Golf Genius, that program is going away here in December. The link is there. It will be replaced by Blue Golf when we get to that point, the first of the year, where we may leave Golf Genius even there if in case some branches want to continue using it. And then down further, down to where you can actually get a link to go to other branch websites. I really wanted to talk about this one here and emphasize it. If you don't have a golf program, or it's informal right now and you want to formalize it, this is the place to go. This is how to start a golf club, a golf branch golf club. And it takes you directly to NCGA, and it shows you the whole process, soup to nuts, goes through in detail the steps, and as well as gives you the application forms, even gives you how to set a club bylaw. It's everything you would need to do what you need to do. It's got a phone number in there for questions you want to ask NCGA, but the State Golf Committee is fully willing and able to help you with this process if you want to start up a golf program in your branch if you don't have one. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about our state golf website. And I suggest you get a chance, look it over. I think you'll find it informational, and it certainly will be informational here in the next month or so. So with that said, I'll end this share. And go back for a second, pick up my presentation. Okay, so that was the state golf website. There we go. And so I wanted to talk briefly, just to talk about the benefits of having a golf program. Golf is our number one activity in our organization, no question about it. It's even more popular than luncheons and other outings. A lot of us knew this, but it was concluded by a consultant who, as you can see from my notes in here, we acquired to give us a report and confirm what many of us already knew. It's also our number one recruiting tool. Again, that same consultant report verified or again validated what many of us knew. And that last part of that bullet, I think, is important. And I can talk to my branch and a couple other ones I've spoken to. It's very important because in 2020, when we were in the midst of COVID, at the worst lockdown times, many branches were going strong still with COVID, with golf activities, because it was an outside activity. And many, I more than a couple I've talked to again, increased their membership during that period because they had a very strong, effective, and well used golf program as a recruiting tool. So as the state golf committee, I'd like to make this offer. We will help a branch start a golf program if you don't have one already. As you saw, we have the material when I was going over the website. We can help with recruiting material for any of the for golf, for any of the branches that are interested in using golf, and I think you should, as a advertising tool to recruit new and new members. And we'd also like to work with you to partner in actually holding some golf tournaments as a cooperative between your branch and state golf. So I think there's a great benefit in having a golf program. It's proven and it's now known, and we can help those branches that don't have one. And with that, I think I'm done, and I would be entertaining any questions.
Mark, I raised my hand, so I have a question.
Okay, let me stop the share.
Besides having branches, I believe you have area golf clubs, right? Like I believe our area has 4 branches that meet under one umbrella or as one golf club.
That is correct, Rick.
So
they
if
do.
You had a branch that wanted to, maybe as an alternative, they could search out someone in their area that already has a golf club and just be part of that, right?
That is correct. Yeah, they've worked cooperatively together, and at one time or another, usually each branch will sponsor an event or a tournament throughout the year or month.
I don't believe we have region golf clubs, though, do we?
Well, pretty much region is where the state golf committee gets involved. We work with the area too for a couple of them, the events I mentioned, but we work with the regional level and at the state level for the tournaments I also mentioned. But I do want to look at regional tournaments. Part of the difficulty, and I don't mean to keep talking, but is just I think there's some things holding us back still. Travel, people wanting to stay in hotels, cost, and things like that to really battle at this point.
Andy, you had a question?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to reinforce what Mark said. At our area meeting 2 years ago, we had 25 members there, big sirs, little sirs, and we went around the room and we asked each member why they joined SIR. And 24 out of 25 joined SIR to play golf. And so in our branch, it's a great activity and we attract a lot of people. Second point was that I believe that Ed Benson's survey showed that 64% of all SIR members statewide, or at least those who responded to the survey, joined to play golf. And so it's a great draw. It brings in the younger, more active members who fall quickly into leadership positions, at least within our branch. One of the chat questions was, when will we get new flyers that emphasize this? And I responded to everyone that if you go to the homepage, the SIR homepage, and click on marketing material, which is on the front page, the home page, it will take you to where you can download the new golfing brochures and edit them for your local branch. So yes, this is a great opportunity. And finally, I want to compliment Mark. Your slides are terrific. For my branch, we have a very active program, 97 players and 45 to 50 who come out regularly. And not until this year did we even know much about the state program. And so keep up the good work. We will certainly stress it more in 2022.
Stu, comment?
Yeah, I do have a comment. When we started this year, golf was closed. And through the efforts of Mark Stuart, he was able to revitalize this whole program going forward. And I wanted to thank him, and I'm sure all of us join in thanking his efforts to paddle our boat forward during these difficult times. Mark, from all of us, thank you so much for doing a great job.
Thank you, and I do have a great committee. I hope to have more people come join us on the committee, but they've done a lot of work. The individuals I pointed out earlier in the website. Thank you, Stu.
Ed, you have a comment. Thanks.
Yeah, we have a sandwich board too. Let me see if I can.
We see it behind you, Ed. Just
We see
lower
it.
your.
Yeah.
Okay, this okay. You can pick that up again through our website, and it's a great way, I think, to entice single guys that are out there looking for a foursome to play golf with. I think that's where we probably pick up a number of our new members.
Great idea, Ed. And the chat box, we have a question that says, does the new website have info on each branch's golf leader info so we can easily coordinate with scrambles?
No, we're going to try to work on that. Part of our problem is NCGA treats every one of our SIR golf branch programs as its own entity. So unless we get the cooperation of the branch to get that information, we can't publish it. We can't get to it. So we've been in an effort to try to get that. I know you've been involved, Rick, we've talked, but that's one of our objectives for this year too, to try to get to the branches and understand we're not trying to get the information to sell it any place. We're trying to get it so we can get it to what you just asked, people to be able to find it and use it within our organization.
George, branch 170, you have a question? Unmute. There you go.
Yes, I did have a quick question. Unfortunately, I don't play golf. I wish I did, but it's something I never picked up. But I've been known to gamble, and that thing in Reno really intrigued me because I could try to be there at this time. I won't play golf, but I might be able to join you guys for the banquet. Is that a possibility?
Yes, it
go to
is.
the banquet?
Yes, it is. We will have, as part of the registration application, a non-golfer fee, which would be for doing the banquet as well as for lodging and all of that. So it's we've done it in the past because of spouses that don't play when their husband attends. So yeah, you'd fall right in that category.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, George. Dean?
I had a thought on our Form 20. We ask the branches to tell us about all their leaders, and we do not now ask for the golf chairman. We ask for webmasters, and we ask for other things, travel chairman and so forth, so that we could record that in our state roster. That's a possibility that we might want to look into, as adding that into the Form 20.
That'd be a great idea, Dean.
Yeah, I inquired about that in the past, but I was told that we just didn't have enough real estate at the time to put in there on the roster. But I do agree. I think that and bowling and maybe a couple other activities should be listed.
Yeah, it's something. It requires a database change, and Rick has got plenty on his hands.
Yep. But it would certainly help.
Thanks, Dean. Fred Warren, branch Big Sur 88.
Yeah, Mark,
Yes.
we obviously we have a newsletter. We've got golf in the newsletter. I think it would help us all if you would get together a concise and very brief posting narrative that we could put on our newsletter about all the state things and how they're available. I could write one up with what you've given me. I would think you'd want to have a consistent notification in any newsletter. If you could do that for us, it'd be a big help.
That is our intention for this coming year. Our really underlying concern is, will people open their email? I don't know if it's easier to direct them to our golf website or to hope that they'll open emails, but we'll see. But we're intending to do that.
Yeah, Mark, I think we can get a pretty good reaction from our newsletter and would also include it in our luncheon meetings.
Okay. Well, I'm going to encourage every branch to put that sirgolf.org, www, into their newsletters going forward. It's like standard stuff. Put it in there. It goes in every newsletter and put it in there.
Okay. Thank you.
That'll get to almost everything everything I've shown you today.
So
Fred.
Mark, do you keep track of the branches and whether they have websites for golf? For example, Branch 35 has a website. And what we ought to do is to put up a link to your website or even some of the pertinent materials. We have a schedule, our schedule is out for the full year of 2022. And so somehow we need to get state in there rather than just our branch.
I agree. And we've talked about doing that. And it's just a matter of cooperating, having branches and golf programs cooperating with the state. We'd like to list all of the state golf websites that exist and their schedules. And hopefully they would agree that members from other branches could come play with them.
You already have the format. Rather than clicking on area, you could even click on branch and up would come something. So I encourage that. That's great.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on that, and your branch is up to date. A couple other websites. The problem is there are some that aren't current. So then you get down to having to go through them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Very informative, and everyone knows how to contact you now. So just a brief moment or little help here. We talked about it when we started, but there's a lot of people signed on. If you would just take a moment to go into and rename yourself, put your name up, your branch, and your title if you have a branch office. It really helps us to track who's attended the meeting. So you click on the upper right hand corner of your picture, and there's a spot there that says rename. So if you could do that, I would appreciate it. So moving right along, our next speaker was to be Paul Cowles. I don't think he's in attendance. He's our bocce ball guy. So we'll be back to talk about bocce ball unless he shows up here later. So our next speaker is going to be Milt Smith. Milton is from Branch 146, and he's our chairman of the state travel. So Milton, are you
Yeah,
around?
I'm here.
All right.
You
you
can
for
call
joining
me
us.
Milt. My mother used to call me Milton when she was a little upset with me. So I don't have a tremendous amount to go over, and I sent my one slide in, or my information. I hope it's up. Maybe it's not. However, I
So
have.
Milt,
Yeah.
just so you know, we have all of your slides and they're all here. And when you say advanced, we'll use them.
Okay, go ahead and advance, because I only have one, I believe.
Well,
Oh, I see what you did. Oh, you cut them
six.
apart. There you go. That's the old 6x6. Never have more than 6 items on a slide, and never have more than 6 slides. I wanted to go over, first of all, I was going to talk about the trips that we do have on the books right now. We have this one out of Bill Stiers is running this. This is full. Both of these are full. There won't be any room on the trip to the Oberama. Hang on.
I have a second slide with the other two.
Here you go. Everybody know how to pronounce that?
Oberammergau Passion Play.
There you go, that one. So those are both sold out. Bill Stiers is our most active travel person around SURS right now. The one to Holland is to Holland, Michigan, where they also have tulips. And those are set, so you can go to the next one if you like. We have an 8-night trip on the Snake River, a cruise on the Snake River. Well, it starts on the Columbia River, goes all the way up to the Snake River. I believe it goes all the way up to Lewiston, follows the path of Lewis and Clark. That's coming up in May. And then we have an 8-night autumn trip scheduled that is a cruise ship that begins a trip in Quebec City and goes to New York City with the ports of call that you see there, Bay of Fundy, St. John. We had this trip set up for 2020 and had to cancel it. The other cruises are not trips that had been canceled and rebooked. But right now, I think, let me see if there's one more on there. One more trip.
No.
Nope. So those are the only trips that we have booked right now. And one of those is booked by Sir 146 and the other two are with Bill Stires. So as you can see, there's not a lot of activity going on, although there are a lot of people asking questions and wondering about group travel, looking at the kinds of things that need to be done. There are some new branch chairs around the state who are asking questions. There's one particularly over here next door from where I am in Walnut Creek in Lafayette, who is interested in getting some cruising going. The problems that we're having right now, we have a few questions about obviously COVID. Some people are reluctant to travel, and it seems like that is the case with a lot of SIRS. When I talk to travel agents around, we have about 10 or 12 travel agents that we've worked with over the years. When I speak with those travel agents, it seems like the world is divided into two kinds of travelers, the kinds that are waiting and the kinds that are ready to go and book things now. Seems like SIRS, at least for group travel, is part of the former. Although I know in my branch, we have a lot of people who are traveling. They're just not traveling with SIRS, and they're putting their own little groups together or traveling on their own. I'm not sure exactly when people are going to want to start booking travel, but I can tell you one thing, the faster the better. If anybody's planning on going anywhere, certainly in 2022, they should start looking at it now. And most of the trips now, places are looking out to 2023 to do some of the group travel. Now, all of that is dependent on what happens in the various countries that people are traveling to. It's the travel companies that develop the COVID. It's the travel. It's the tour companies that develop the protocols based on the countries that they're traveling to. But I can tell you that most of the tour companies that I've been trying to work with, at least, and I've been talking to, have very similar regulations about COVID as we do at SIRS. The only thing they may not have is the waiver. But for most of the companies, you have to travel as you have to have proof of vaccination. If you don't have proof of vaccination, most companies, you can't travel at all. But it may be that you have to have a negative test within a certain amount of hours. And for our SIRS travelers, when you add to that the waiver, that helps cover SIRS. The other situation that we're facing is the insurance issues that we have with our state SIRS insurance. We do have a waiver that anytime we travel outside North America, well, not even all of North America, just outside of Mexico or Canada, in the United States, we do not have to have the waiver. But anywhere else on the planet, the individual SIR is responsible for paying for our added insurance, which is $2,700. And so we try to prorate that, but we can't really prorate it when we haven't had anybody traveling. If you only have 10 people travel, that's $270 a piece. So we're working on that. I and the people on the board of directors. Another issue that's coming up, and we're finding with the travel agencies and the tour companies, and some of these changes began before COVID, but since COVID they've increased, and it has to do with the kinds of requirements that we require for travel agencies. It has to do primarily with two things. Well, two things. One is the statement that we require that if a travel agency or company cancels a trip, the agency will give everybody their money back immediately. Well, that term immediately we've been able to drop, and it's more like 30 days now. And I think we're okay there. The place we're not so okay is a place where we require all of these travel companies to have a trust fund, so that your deposit goes into a trust fund. And if that company goes broke, the money's there in the trust fund to pay you back. Many companies are not doing that anymore. Some do, some don't, but more and more are not. The company that I like to travel with the most, OAT, does not do that at all, period. And so right now we can't travel with OAT. They have different arrangements that they make with their travelers in case that happens. However, all of these companies are licensed in the state of California. And so they're thinking if they're licensed in the state of California, we should be okay with that. And so that's some more conversations that we're having at the board level. Now I was very jealous when I was listening to Mark speak when I saw that he had this committee of 4 people. So when Ed twisted my arm and took me in his backyard and gave me some kind of a libation, I'm not sure what it was, but by the end of about an hour or 10 minutes, I don't know, I'm not sure, I had signed up for this job. And one of the things that I do remember was he was going to have some help for me, and we did get somebody to help, but that person unfortunately became ill and was not able to continue. So when I saw Mark's presentation, I saw that he had a committee of 4. Man, I'd love to have a committee of 2. So I'm going to be out beating the bushes to try to find somebody to help me out. And I would love to take a look at possibly doing some things with our travel at the area levels. We're doing it right now. I communicate directly with the branch travel chairs. And honestly, I don't know how busy they are or are not. Bill Stiers is the only one that I've heard a lot from. There are 2 more that I've just heard from in the last 2 months. One of them just in the last week up around Napa. And they are interested in getting going. So I'm going to be pushing that. But I would love to, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what the process would be, but I'd like to get a little help. And I would love to talk about having some area travel chairs and then talk about marketing. Originally, I was going to get some help to do all the paperwork. And I was going to help with marketing travel, group travel for all of CERS. And that's something I think we could still do. I would like to do some more surveys of the membership or help the CERS travel chairs do surveys of their branches, however that works out. That's kind of what I'm looking for coming up. I really don't have anything else to talk about with travel. I do send out a report about once a month. It hasn't been quite as regularly as it used to be when Tom Molinari was doing this, because we've had so few people booking trips. But I do send this travel report out once a month to all of the branch travel chairs. I think they're about 50. I don't know if they all read it. Some of them do. I do get questions from time to time. So that really is all I have to talk about. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Ed, you have a comment or question?
Well, yeah, I had to carry him out in the wheelbarrow. So,
Yes.
but
It was one of my best trips.
yeah. Milt, give me a call at your convenience. We'll talk
Okay.
about recruiting.
Okay, sure will.
All right, thank you very much, Milt. And we'll move right along. Our next presenter today is Bobby Hairston, Branch 149. He's our state RV chairman and past state president. Bobby, it's all yours. You have to unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you go.
Well, thank you for whoever prepared this slide. It looks like a nice looking van to travel in, but I have no presentation. Mine is more of a plea. Tell me which branch has a travel chairman. Tell me which branch wants to RV, and help me out here. I've had the same plea for about 2 or 3 years now, and I've got zero help. And I'll grant you that COVID didn't help anything, but it's really not a good thing if people want to RV and people want to get together and then I have to know who has RVs. I mean, that's just as simple as that.
So Bobby,
I got-
what we need is the area governors to collect a list of who the chairman is of the RVs and submit it to you. Is that what you need?
Yes, sir. That would help. That would help. And that's been the ongoing request, but I haven't got any help. And so that's where we're at. But I RV on my own. I travel across the United States quite frequently. I'm getting ready for a big trip back to Ohio in the spring, and I travel to Arizona, and I travel all over the place. So, and I love to travel. It's not like nobody's traveling, but nobody is traveling as a group, and that's what we really want to put together.
I think in the last few months, there's been RV travel, but it hasn't been under the SIR banner.
Exactly.
So, I'd like to see a clearinghouse of some branches have 35, 40 rigs in their RV group. And so they really don't need any other people to join. But if you're going to get back to where you're trying to use a clubhouse, and then the other thing that's happened recently is in the last several years, they want a huge deposit if you go into a facility, and then they change the cancellation period is much shorter than that of an individual. So they're trying to collect up the reservation fees. So it's a dilemma for big groups.
You betcha. And I've run into that too when I've run, trips, just even do a trip to Corning where, I'll have 25 rigs that will go up there, and you get the clubhouse, but you have to put the deposit up front. And the real dilemma with an older group like we are is that some people will drop out, and then you have to fight tooth and nail to get their deposits back for them.
Yeah, we had a problem getting wagon masters because a few of them got hung because they're the ones that made the deposit. It didn't come from the branch. They personally made it. And then when there was a cancellation, they got stung with it.
Ouch. So any questions? That's all I have.
Yeah, I'd like to see eventually get to a point where we could post it on the website that these are trips coming up. And if you want to participate, here's the information. So
You betcha.
yeah, maybe I can.
Yeah, Bob, this is Milt. I just had a quick question. Larry Yarberry does work through SIRS Travel, but I know, does that name ring a bell with you? Because he does a lot of RV stuff, but he does it on the travel side.
Yeah,
I'll put you two guys together. Maybe you'll have something to talk about.
super. See, that's the kind of help I need.
All right.
That'd be great.
Okay.
All right, Bobby, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker needs no introduction, and he's going to talk about state SIR sporting events, and it's Lee Moy from Branch 159, Assistant State Secretary and Chair of the State Activities. Lee, you're on. Okay, unmute Lee. Lee, you need to unmute, buddy. There you go.
Okay, so after all that introduction, I just want to say thank you for a lot of people behind the scenes who were also involved in last year's preliminary leadership summit. I wanted to have a special moment to recognize our good friend, Ron Flago, who just passed away. He's a strong person and a great supporter of SIRS. So thank you. I don't know if his picture came up yet or not. I did just send one at the last second. Really, we need to have a lot of people step up at the state, at all the levels. And one of the things that we're talking about today is state supported, the bowling, the golf, the travel, and state SIR sport. So what we did last year and or have done in the past was go to the baseball game, and usually it's the battle of the bands. By the way, this year the A's have been reaching out to me, but the price has jumped up to $70 a game per ticket, and I think I'm going to choke a little bit on that. May have to look for other senior games, and I would always like to work with branches. So if some of you branches have some inside road, and I'd like to corral our interest at state and give you some more maybe branches that could participate. I would like to also do the same thing and reach out to you guys to support what state is supporting as far as the Major League Baseball, AAA, involved last year. We are a couple of years ago at Rayleigh Field in Sacramento. Now we're down to the single A Fresno team, and the Oaks and the Stockton Ports and San Jose and all that. We'd like to support all that and get other branches locally to support it too, and come out as a third day. So any kind of help you guys do set up, and any connections you have, please reach out to me too, so I can help you advertise, make the flyers, and get the prices and all that kind of thing. Anybody want to help with this could also help. Besides the baseball, we did a couple of years ago, we were fortunate to go to the Golden Gate Fields, 350 members. I guess it was some part, it was the Ladies' Day luncheon of sorts. And boy, it was a good turnout, and we had a lot of pictures, and we actually took over the what do you call that? The runway there where the horses run through. So it was great. You could even have your picture taken with the jock and the horse too. So it was a great day. Okay. And it was sunny. Other things that we're trying to do is get involved maybe with basketball. There's been an outreach from the Warriors to go, and I don't know if I have to sell my gold tooth or what, but to get out there and go, that would be kind of a kick in the pants. And the same thing with the Kings. So if your branches are doing something of the sort, please let me know. And then we can work with you to get more advertisement, to get more of other branches, so we all look like we're all together out there having a great time, as we should. Okay, I don't know of any other thing as far as training and looking at the positions, and I'm sure you're going to hear this on another day, but we're going to be looking strongly at the secretarial position, as well as the treasurer, as we look to combine that in some way or form or another. So we'll need your help, input, and also we'll learn and develop some training towards that direction. So Rick Kendall, thanks for doing a great job with this. And Stu, thank you last year for providing guidance and assistance. And by the way, I want you to once again recognize the two leaders that we've lost in the last 2 years, and their wives that are now in sorrow. So we think about them, and we wish them the best, and maybe the next man step up. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Good presentation. Stu, you have a question or comment?
I have a question and a comment. Lee, are we going to be doing another Golden Gates Field event going forward? I mean, that was very enjoyable and great participation, and one that just seemed to draw a lot of branches together.
Yes, like just mentioned, I look forward to setting that up, but also at the same time, I'd like to know if maybe some of the branches already have something arranged. So it's a two-way street, as long as we can get people in the seats.
Well, Lee, this is Milt again. I'm sorry to read. Yeah. Is there somebody ahead of me?
Go ahead.
Let me finish up.
It's opportune.
If I could for a second, Lee, unfortunately, you're correct. We have lost two of our leaders. We lost our incoming state president, Jim Johnson, and now we have lost our secretary, Ron Flegel. But it is within the last 11 months, not 2 years, that we've lost these two great individuals. But I wanted to thank you for what you have done this year in both starting out the leadership conference that now is a model for what's going forward. You did a great job. You did a great job as the assistant secretary, and in all the things I asked you to do, you were always prompt and very responsive. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you very much.
Fred, question, comment?
Yeah, this is Milt. Lee, we had our first live lunch last Thursday at branch 146. And the first three questions I got about travel were, hey, when are we going back to Golden Gate Fields? I haven't heard anything from those folks. I don't know the folks at Golden Gate Fields. I'm just wondering if you have. I'd be happy because we always get a pretty big turnout from our branch. We've been able to do it twice a year. So I'd be happy to send out an email to the people over there and see if I can reach anybody. But I was just wondering if you'd heard anything directly from Golden Gate Fields.
No, this is very interesting because I've heard from the Warriors. I have heard from the A's, even heard from the Giants, but I haven't heard from the Golden Gate Fields. At one time or another, they were on some sort of answering machine, but earliest tomorrow, I'll call them up and see. And thanks for your assistance, Milt.
Sure.
I'm also going to, since you are involved with travel, I want to point out for 10 years, I did travel down here in Fresno. And the thing I did, it was for free. And so it's a little different than getting comped or travel and all that kind of thing. We looked for things that were free locally and did those kind of, even in conjunction with a luncheon. So there are other options in running free and available travel.
Yeah, good idea.
Hey, Fred, I guess you're up. Fred, comment, question?
Yeah, it's Fred Warrenly. About a year ago, I had the Warriors contact me for a possible discount for a group to come see a Warriors game. Unfortunately, the guy that I talked to then no longer works there. Do you have a contact at the Warriors, or do I need to dig down on my own?
Yes, I'll send you a contact, Fred.
Okay.
Warren, and I'll send it to anybody. Actually, all it is the next, their next man up. As you know, the turnover at these group sales is high. Every year they're basically I'm talking to someone else. So yeah, I'll send you the contact on that, Fred, and anybody else that wants it.
And let me add my 2 cents about the Golden Gate Fields. We had a great time. We'll do it again. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it was a blast having 350 members out there.
Wow.
As a kid.
Thank you.
Richard, unmute.
Lee, have you looked into the AT&T Pro-Am that they have in February 2nd to the 6th, I think it is? Every year I get from them, you can go, like the first day is free, and then if you buy into it on the first week, like November 2nd to this 5th, the tickets are like $35 for the second day. And that's the AT&T Pro-Am, and it's always in February, like maybe getting a bus together. And this could also be for travel or for golf, but for a lot of the people in the Central Valley, you'd meet at the fruit yard with a bus and go on from there.
Yeah, another great activity. I used to live in Monterey, and it rains usually at least one day out of that tournament. So that's the one, I don't want to say rain on the parade, but it is a great activity. The practice area is probably the easiest accessible. After that, there is kind of a distance and a crowd to deal with, unless you got prime, room over at the hotel, Del Monte. But that's a bit pricey. I think even going back to the Warriors, I think that's going to be a bit pricey. And ever since the Giants won their, 3 times over, their prices have never come down. So unless you like bleeding seats up in the third level, we're very fortunate so far, we thought, to be in the shaded area of the A's State Coliseum while it's still there. And it's about 70 degrees when we go there. The Giants don't have a June swoon at that time, so we're fortunate to have a lot of turnout. I think even Ed Benson showed up the last couple of years. So yeah, we have had a good turnout for all these type things. I'll look into the horse races once again and see what I can do about getting that email address to you, okay?
No,
All
I
right.
was
Anything else?
referring, yeah, Lee, I was referring to the AT&T Pro-Am, not baseball or the horse races. I was referring to the AT&T Pro-Am
Yeah,
that
yeah, right.
comes
The
in February.
Pro-Am, yeah, the golf tournament's in February in Monterey, Pebble Beach.
Yeah, it's too late
Played the
to
four
go.
course, 3 or 4 courses
Yeah,
there.
it's too late to do it now, but what about for next year is what I was referring to.
I can look into it, but like I said, I will look into it, period. Yes, I will. Thank you for
Okay,
this.
Rick Powers, 104. Questions?
I wanted to just mention to both Bill and Lee, contact me. Lee specifically, we have some things going on with the Warriors GE team out of Santa Cruz. So might be able to give you some data there. And Milt, just contact me at your leisure.
Thank you. This is what I like to hear. Thank you.
Bobby,
I think I might have a, I might have a guess about the Golden Gate Fields, and it's been my experience that any casino or any type of restaurant that has a buffet is not open anymore. They don't allow buffets, and the Golden Gate Field luncheon was a buffet, and that may be one of the reasons why you haven't heard anything. That's just a guess, but I would say that's probably 99% correct. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, their buffet was outstanding. In fact, that was probably more important than the race. And besides the ladies, dolling up for the day and everything, the food was unlimited, and it was for an unlimited time. So
Yeah, but it was-
I can see why
like I
that was a
said-
major draw.
Yeah, but it was a buffet. So I don't,
Mhm. Yeah, it was a buffet, and they cut the ham, and they also cut the roast beef or tri-tip. Yeah, they did a very fine job.
yeah. So that may be one reason why, they're not doing it right now.
Nevertheless, I will call tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Off to the races.
okay. Ed, do you have a comment? Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, I keep hearing we need volunteers, we need volunteers, we need volunteers. And I don't know that this is the group to talk to, because all of us are pretty well volunteered up. But what it points out is the need to recruit and the need to get younger people involved in SIR. Our current median age, last time I checked, was 78. It's probably gotten older. And I mean, how many 78, 80-year-olds are going to volunteer to take something like this on? We need to get out. We need to get out on those golf courses and recruit younger guys. We need to try to find younger guys wherever they may be and bring them into SIR. If anything's going to kill us, guys, it's the lack of volunteers.
Aging.
I mean, it's killed other groups. It's killed I'm trying to think of the guys that wear the funny hats, the Shriners. It's really taken a blow with them. So get out, recruit younger people, and try to figure out how to do it.
Okay, Ed, thank you. We're going to talk a lot about that on Thursday, so we'll take it up again then. So I thank Lee, great presentation, and we'll move on. The next speaker today needs no introduction either. He's been around for a long time. Russ Salazar, Branch 113, Chairman of their State Bowling Committee. Russ, are you with us? Unmute if you're trying to talk.
Got it. Okay. Can we have a slide? By the way, my name is Russ, not Ron.
Sorry about that, Ron.
As a matter of fact, I have a cousin whose name is Ron.
Russ,
Sorry
I
about
said
that.
Russ, didn't I? Didn't I say
I,
Russ? Okay.
No, you said Russ, but Ron is written. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, can we have first slide, please?
It's up.
how do I get it? There we go. All right. Let me first of all fill you in on what's happened. Bowling was pretty much out of business for about a year and a half. Tournaments, our last tournament was in late January of 2020, and we didn't resume until July of this year. So we were out of business for about 17, 18 months. And however, during that period, we did our best planning in order to keep the committee engaged and not wandering to another interest. We had monthly Zoom meetings. And as a matter of fact, we had better turnout at our Zoom meetings than we did in any of the meetings in the past that were face-to-face and very expensive. And so the committee has decided to stick with the Zoom meeting. We may do one annual face-to-face, but that's kind of up in the air. And it's worked extremely well for us. But so in the monthly meetings, we were able to address some of the problems in our rules. And just before the shutdown, we had an insurance problem because our leagues and some of the tournaments, we have to guarantee to the bowling center a certain number of lanes that are going to be used. Now, we were able to get, consequently, we needed guests. And the problem was that it was contrary to state rule that limited guests to 3 and possibly 5 events. And that wouldn't work for our leagues because our summer league is about 21 weeks and they bowl every week, 3 games. And our winter league is even longer. It's about 30, sometimes 31 weeks. So once you commit to it, you got to stick with it. So we brought the problem to the state board, and in their wisdom, they decided to let us study in other words, waive that guest restriction for 2 years to enable us to study the advantages, recruiting advantage, and anything else that might convince us that we need to do something drastic. So anyway, unfortunately, a couple of months later, we went out of business. Bowling stopped. And so we weren't able to do anything. And so with the revival of bowling and the resumption of tournaments and leagues, we went back to the board at their November meeting and pleaded our case. And so they, in their infinite wisdom again, have waived the guest rule for bowling events indefinitely. So now we can go back and try to revive some of the leagues that quit being SIR-sponsored leagues and bring them back into the fold. And our tournaments have been the recruiting efforts that we've made through the tournaments have been fantastic. Roughly about 2/3 of our male guests over 55, semi-retired or retired, have joined. Now there's about 1/3, but they typically don't bowl more than 1 or 2 tournaments a year locally. And so I think that we're in control there, and the leagues, many of the leagues, because of the restriction, quit being SIR leagues, and now they're starting to come back, and so that was a good move, I think, on the part of the state board. Other thing is during the period, we addressed a couple of issues that have been nagging that have to do with guests. And that is we have a number of widows of SIR members who bowled with their late husbands and are allowed to bowl, continue bowling as long as they're a guest of a SIR. Well, one of the problems with that is that some of the widows have linked up again, with another man, and it's very difficult to have a SIR sponsor or use a woman as a guest so that she can bowl while a guy just sits around. So we experimented with 4 tournaments since July, and we allowed widows of passers to bring their own guests. In other words, treat them as a SIR member with all the rights and privileges as far as bowling is concerned, and that's worked very well. We picked up I think about 15 members that way. The other thing is because of the COVID pandemic, and bowling is an indoor sport, we require that all participants, guests, wives, widows, all participants must show proof of vaccination and sign a waiver. We added a line to the waiver form where we witness the proof of vaccination, and it's noted and signed by the tournament director. And we maintain a file. They only need to do that one time, and we keep it on file. And when a bowling tournament sends out its applications and starts getting entrants, we furnish them with a list of those bowlers who have already proven their vaccination, and so they're not asked again. Those bowlers, and we haven't had any actually, also have the option of producing proof of a negative test within the 72-hour period just prior to the event. And we haven't had that though. And as far as pushback goes, I was expecting some terrible pushback. We didn't get any. The only pushback we got was from a few members of my own branch. And so, but on the other hand, I've received many comments from bowlers who had no trouble getting their vaccinations and have no trouble with a waiver, and they thought it was a very good thing, that they felt a lot safer. So anyway, that's worked out quite well. Now, if you go to the main SIRinc.org website and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this image of the 2 bowlers giving a high five, which, by the way, we really frown on during the COVID pandemic. We don't touch each other. And we don't touch each other's balls either.
Yeah.
Cut it out. And so anyway, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see in red letters, the SIR State bowling site is here. You click on the blue here and advance, please. Andy?
Yeah.
And you come to the SIR State bowling site. That has all the information that you ever wanted to know about SIR bowling, starting with the bowling committee itself, when we have our meetings, the minutes, financial reports, and our committee members. We have 8 members on the committee, the executive committee, and about 30 members in general. The rest are tournament directors, tournament managers, and their staff. So we keep everybody involved and talk about problems, talk about possible solutions. And it's worked extremely well, meeting monthly. And then our tournaments, we have a calendar, our past calendar for 2021, which is mostly cancellations. And 2 weeks ago at the November State Board meeting, we presented our proposed 2022 calendar. We work on that all year long for the following year because the bowling centers, they fill up on dates very quick. And again, in their infinite wisdom, the State Board approved our proposed calendar, which we'll see in a minute. And then we designed tournament applications to be consistent and also fillable, because a lot of us old codgers, our handwriting is atrocious and our eyesight is just as bad, so we can't read atrocious handwriting. But here you can type in the information that we asked for. We'll look at that too. And then we have the tournament results. As you see here, we had Modesto, which was our annual state tournament, and that was in the first part of November. We usually get the results within a week afterward. And these are the tournament results for the year shown from 2016 to 2020. Before the pandemic, we were doing 18 to 20 tournaments a year throughout Northern California, Central California, and Nevada, Carson City and Reno. Since we started in our proposed calendar for next year, we have, I believe, 17. We'll look at that in a minute. And as I mentioned, we designed the application form templates so that it's not a new experience every time a bowler wants to fill out an application. The information is basic and consistent. It's in the same order. We'll look at that in a second. Advance, please. Oh, before we go, at the bottom of your screen, you see SIR tournament average lookup. Like the, what is it, the GPGA for golf, we have the USBC, United States Bowling Congress, that oversees all of our tournaments. We require every bowler to be a member of the USBC because USBC establishes averages as well based on leagues. And the SIR tournament average is based on 18 games played in a SIR tournament. And so that's that would be 3 tournaments or less. And then you have a SIR tournament average. We found that in general, the SIR tournament average, because you're bowling in a foreign house, your average in a house other than your own home house is around 10 to 12 pins below your USBC tournament average. I mean, USBC average, which is from bowling in your familiar home ground. So anyway, that's what that's about, and we'll talk about that. And in order to, if there are any questions, our committee members, all the contact information is contained there. And we encourage branches to take up a bowling activity, whether it be a league or whether it be a single branch tournament, or participate in our state tournaments and even sponsor one. And so we provide all the assistance. Usually on if a branch decides to sponsor a tournament, we pretty much run the first one and we train them for so that they can take over the following year. And so all that is free, and we're very generous with that. Our guys love bowling. My branch was about a 100-member branch, 105 members, and we had 74 active bowlers. Our almost exclusive new members almost exclusively come through the bowling alley. They're bowlers, and just like golfers, many of them are golfers first and SIR members second. And the only reason they joined is so that they could golf in SIR tournaments and other golf activities sponsored by SIR. Well, same thing with bowling. So anyway, advance, please. This is our schedule, our approved schedule now. And I believe we have 17. Now you'll notice we go to Napa, and then the February tournament, unfortunately, the bowling center was sold to a church and they converted it to some kind of outbuilding for the church. And they're no longer bowling. But however, we've recruited a branch in Sacramento, and they're now negotiating for a February date at Country Club Lanes in Sacramento. So we are anticipating to fill that date probably around mid-February. And then we'll go to Concord, then Carson City, my favorite, where everything it's at the Gold Dust West Hotel and Casino. Everything is under one roof. All your meals, our tournament director negotiates fantastic deal. I think $55, $65 for a room with free breakfast. And meals are cheap and very good. Got a fantastic Mexican restaurant, but I'm prejudiced. And that we'll be there twice. We'll be there in April and again in September. And that'll be sponsored by the South Lake Tahoe branch. And then Danville next year will be our state tournament. It's generally in May. Last year, we had to postpone the May date because it was shut down. And we finally held a tournament in November, just a couple of weeks ago. And then Pacheco, Sutter Creek, Dublin, Pollock Pines, my favorite. Because our bowling center is so small, we have to have it for usually 3 or 4 days. And we fill it up. It's one of I think it's the third most popular. Even though it's out in the hinterlands, it's in the Sierra, but we get a good turnout. And then Concord, and then we go up to Reno, and we're in the bowling stadium, and that's our biggest tournament. We usually get about between 200 and 250 bowlers, and we use the whole stadium. It's probably one of the best stadiums on the West Coast, and it's huge. And then Grass Valley, back to Carson City, and Brentwood, and on down Citrus Heights, Modesto, and Danville in December. So that's what we're doing. The committee has direct oversight on the tournaments. They're all state sponsored. And we have indirect oversight over the local branch and area leagues. But we provide technical assistance and training to anyone who wants it. Next, please. This is our application. If you look up in the upper right-hand corner, it says USBC certification number. Every tournament is registered with the USBC. And a couple of things happen there is number one, we get additional insurance. And number two, they will keep track of our scores and work them into the average. And eligibility, you'll see that we have active and applicant SIRS, as well as their spouses, widows, and guests. We generally, if you go to the very bottom, I don't know if we can pick it up, but anyway, we have most tournaments are mixed, in other words, men and women, mixed doubles and singles. A few are doubles and team, a four-man team or four-person team. And then the one annual state tournament, which we held in Modesto this year, in Pacheco next year, is strictly sirs, no guests, no wives, but strictly sirs, and that's four-person team and also doubles. Our handicap is we level the playing field perfectly. If your average is 150, then the difference between 150 and 230, which is 80 pins, is your handicap. So if I'm bowling 150 and you're a 200 bowler, much better than me. However, your handicap is only 30 pins and mine is 80. Consequently, if I bowl 151 and you bowl your 200, I win. Now, the only criticism we get is from the super bowlers because they're not crazy. They've spent many years of their lives developing their high average, and they kind of resent the fact that a little novice bowler can actually beat them. But it's mostly expressed jokingly, and we've never had any serious arguments over it. Now the entering averages, this is something that we've just started, is if a bowler has a SIR tournament average, in other words, he's bowled in 18 games or more in tournaments, that would be 3 tournaments. And he has a USBC average. The lower of the two averages is the one that will be used here. What else do we have here? And in this case, they have singles and doubles. And the cost is reasonable. It's 20, in this case, it's $21.50. And that cost, that's per bowler per event for singles or doubles. So if they bowl singles and doubles, it's going to cost them $43. Plus, if you want an optional play in the all events, that's another $5. So $48 will cover you. And our costs are broken out. Lineage is what we have to pay the bowling center, $10.50 of that $21.50. And then the tournament expenses, in this case, that's printing and various clerical expenses, is $1. And the SIR fee is typically 40 cents. However, because we're meeting via Zoom and our biggest expense has been meeting expenses, we waived the SIR fee until we figure out what we can do with the money. We on the state tournament, we recently contributed $500 to the prize fund for the A division team and the B division team. So we're trying to figure out different ways that we can promote bowling. And then we'll probably go back to that 40 cents. But right now, we've got about $6,000 and it's just lying there. So begging to be spent.
Russ, we're moving along on time. How much more?
Okay, I got 5 more minutes. And then the prize fund is $10. So, okay, let's go to the back side. Oh, no, go back. Okay,
I don't have a backside.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the backside is fillable on your home computer. And it also has the COVID requirement. As I mentioned earlier, all participants must show proof of vaccination, which we note and we keep a record of. They only need to do it one time for tournaments. And then we maintain a file. And so once they do it once, then it's not a problem. That's the main thing. This is a winning team from Sonora on the A division, and it's a perpetual trophy. Their names, the year, all of that stuff, the location will be put on there, and the team gets to keep that trophy for a year until the next tournament, the next state tournament the following year, and they show it off in their bowling center. We do 2 of these trophies for the A division team, that's these guys, and that's from branch 136 in Sonora. And then we have the same type of trophy for the B division with the same information on it. This is the B division. Next slide. Yeah, these are the guys from, as a matter of fact, these are the guys that want to sponsor a Sacramento tournament next February. And what I think really convinced them is the fact that they got to have a place to put the trophy. And so with that, are there any questions, comments?
Well, hearing none, Russ, great presentation, very informative. I used to bowl a lot until I ended up with an arm problem, but you're starting to spark my interest again. So,
well, like I told you, we got at least 24 bowlers that went lefty, and now they're doing as well lefty as they were righty.
Well, I'm a lefty, so I'd have to go righty.
Then you go
righty.
You sure?
Dean, you have a comment or question?
Well, there was a question in the chat about the URL for state bowling site. Of course, you can go to Sir Inc. and scroll down as Russ identified, but we recently created a alternate URL just like we did for golf.
Yeah.
And you put it out there. It's sirbowling.org, just like sirgolf.org. So the bowlers can go directly to their webpage with the sirbowling.org URL.
Yeah, I personally have about 200 websites that I have to memorize. And the one that I use the most is sirinc.org, because that's my source of almost everything I need to know about SIR. So I kind of stick with that. However, the younger bowlers who have better memory capacity, I highly recommend going to the bowling website directly.
Okay, I know a lot of you guys are wanting to get on to happy hour, and we've been waiting for Jerry Sabo's. Thank you very much, Russ. Great job.
Okay.
And we'll move on to Jerry Sabo, our branch 59, and he's the executive editor of SIR Happenings. And on the chat room, he's provided a link so you can open up SIR Happenings. So Jerry, if you're there,
yeah,
welcome.
I gave you a video that I could show it, or else it's on, I can display it if I got a screen. I promise not to take any more than 10 minutes if you let it go.
No, looking forward to it. You do.
So
a great job.
somebody, I sent everyone a little short PDF that sort of contains everything that I have to talk about. And I gave Derek a copy of the website that I wanted to present. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. If not, you can give me a share screen and I can show it to you. And that's all I'll have to say is the video that I produced.
Derek, do you have that?
He should have. It's on the YouTube.
Not
And if
immediately,
not-
so why don't you share?
Well, give me a share and I will be happy to. Make me a co-host. real quick.
Yes, I'll make your co-host. You are now a co-host.
Okay, thank you. And I'll get you going here. Let's see, I need to turn on the sound and I think should be all set.
We got it.
Okay.
Start it up.
Rick Kendall called me a couple days ago and asked if I would present something to the November 16th session, special session and training, I guess. So I'm going to talk about the SIR happenings. I'm Jerry Sabo. And on your screen, you can see roughly what I've done. I've received a lot of basic information from various branches. So here, for example, Arnold Branch 152, October, I guess I have 2 of them, and September. So each month, during the month, I receive newsletters from all the different branches. As well, here's some news tips from James Kwan, some consumer tips. And as you can see, I've got quite a few different branches that have submitted newsletters to me. Some of them multiple newsletters, and of course, some new branches don't give me anything. And most of the time, I receive a PDF version of their newsletter. And what I do is basically I open each newsletter. And like I use quite a bit from Auburn usually, so let me go ahead and open this very quickly. And what I do, I'm using 2 monitors, so I'll have to move things over. What I do is go through each newsletter and I take off the heading. I always look for special things. Now, I'll have to show you what some of the older newsletters look like, but in this particular newsletter, what I'm going to find mostly would be new members if I can find any, and any other special activities are happening. Nothing pops out right now, so I may find something in the other newsletters from Arnold, and maybe not, but I'll try to get something, maybe a page's worth of information. And let's close that for now. I know some of the newsletters, for example, the newsletter I get from San Mateo is huge, and this information, I think there's probably about, no, I don't see the number of pages. Here's 18 pages of information, and I'll probably pull quite a bit of information from this particular newsletter and put it in the November issue of the SIR Happenings. So basically, this is what I do. I know when I first received the SIR Happenings several years ago, when John Scarpellis was putting the newsletter together, it was mostly information from the branch officers and from various committee chair people. I was a state bowling commission chairperson, and I would usually submit an article. And I don't know that I spent that much time reading it because I didn't find too much that I really wanted to read about. But as I go through all the different newsletters, I'll find some information that's generally very good. Like here's something that popped my eye right now. Here's a Gordon Deeg getting some something with the bonsai, and I'll probably pull that information. What I'll do is I will highlight this information, and I'll basically copy it to a clipboard and then paste it onto the newsletter. Here's what the newsletter is looking like right now. I can show you this. I'm using Affinity Publisher to do the newsletter. So all I have is I've changed the date to November. It's issue number 4. And there are a whole bunch of blank pages that you can see over here. This page 5, that was from branch 1 because I will be getting things from them, from San Mateo, as I just pointed out, and I'll be putting in probably several pages of information. As I scroll down the pages, I'm not sure what that is. That's something from branch 8, but I think I'm going to change their banner up here. I have to do that. And here's something from branch 17, Luther Burbank branch in Santa Rosa. And I usually get some information from them. And here's Mission Trail branch, Los Altos, branch 35. Right next to it, here's branch 37, Placer Gold. I think that's probably the one I was just pointing out. And my own branch, the Pathfinder from Fremont. And I'm saving room for a lot of information. And as you can see, here's China Camp. I've just been receiving information from them the last couple of months, and it's very interesting. Solano. Here's a branch 98 in Roseville. Here's Stanislaus branch 103. Here's one where I usually get some information that I like from Dave Bogger. I think he has a lot of information. I will try to change this date, or maybe I'll grab the new masthead without the date for the newsletter. Here's something from Lake Tahoe, branch 160, branch 174, La Miranda, and not too many other branches. Maybe I know I'll get a few news ones. The last several pages basically were information from James Kwan about consumer tips. Now, personally, I don't mind getting a PDF, and it's fine, but if anybody happens to have a specific article that they would like to publish, it would be really nice to get a Word document, and I'll show you how easy that is. If I get a Word document, let me pull something very quickly from my own newsletter and just show you how it works. If I go into my Finder and I pull up, if I pull up a Word article, here's one that James Kwan. I mean, it happens to be, as you can see. Let's see. It says it's Consumer Tips, September 2021. I don't think I have any other consumer tips, but all I do is I drag that newsletter, drag that into here and drop it. And as you can see how nicely it works, I can widen it and move it around the page. And since it's more than one page long, it's not fitting everything. So what I'll do, happens to be page 48. Let me go down here to where I'm using it. It's right down here, branch. I'll go to the next page and I'll build a text box. So I just take this cursor and I build a text box. I don't want it to be 2 columns. I'll just switch it to 1 column. Then I'll go back to this page and I just grab this little, let's see, let me get my cursor proper. I'll just grab this little thing here and click, and I'll see a little picture. Whoops, not that one. There's a little chain link there, and I click that, go to the next page and drop that, and what happens is that carried to the next page. Let me go one more page, put another text box, open it up there, go back to the last page. Whoops, page 48, the first one. I need to make this bigger. And try to get the margins about the same. Then I'll go to, that's page 48, here's page 49 that was already linked. And as you can see, there's information still down below. So what I'll do is I'll grab the little chain link again and go to page 50, click there, it continued. Let me go to the next page, 51, put another text box, go back to page 50, click on the chain link, go to the last page 51, click there, and it's fit. I got to add another page. So I right click, add another page. I'll just say one page after. Build another text box. Go back to page 51. And get my cursor. Click the chain. Go to page 52. Click there. Oh boy, this is a long one. I guess I should have added another couple of pages. I've got 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. Let's add 2 more pages. Oops, not from a file, excuse me. Add pages, let's put 2 pages after, okay. Go to that page here, add another text box. Go to the page before. So what I'm trying to say is, when I get things from Microsoft Word, they're really nice and easy to drop in, and I don't have to do much editing at all. So this is good. Well, that's the end of the issue. And I'll shrink this down. So I've got to the top. And maybe I'll find a cartoon or something to put there. So basically the information that I got, the consumer tips that came from 2021 September, that fit in very nicely. And one of the things that I look for is the font, because we're supposed to be using the Lato font for these newsletters. So I'm going to select all of this. Select all this, and I'm going to change the font to the font that we're supposed to be using for our newsletters, the Lato font. And I just did that, and it should have changed it all. So now everything is in Lato instead of Times New Roman. And it's a little more in line with what we're trying to do for consistency in all the newsletters. Now, I'm not going to go any further with this. This is plenty for one session and gives you an idea of what I do with the newsletters. It's a little more difficult when things are in PDFs, but it's not too bad. And for example, the Dave Plogger information, I'll highlight it and I'll paste it in here, but I'll have a little bit of tweaking to do. Maybe this will give you some questions, and we can cover those on the 16th of November, which is when you'll see this anyway. Thank you. Okay, I sent you a little PDF that has a link to this link and some other videos that I've done. And the state does not provide Affinity Publisher. The cost of that software is ridiculously low. I used to use Adobe InDesign, which is quite expensive. And then we had Quark Express that I did get paid for through the state. And that was quite expensive. And then I discovered the Affinity Publisher. And at one time, the price was $25, and now it's up to $54, but it's an amazing bunch of software. Stu, you had a question? You're muted. Still muted.
And should be clear now.
Yeah, it's good.
Good. Jerry, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you. You have always been sending me emails to tell me when my due date is for comments, and your publication has been super. And I wanted to thank you. I mean, you were just a great help to all year, and you helped us stay in contact with all of our branches. Thank you for helping us. You have been an integral part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, a couple of other things. I don't know how many newsletter publishers are here. It looks like most of the people have left because this is dragging on so long. But if anybody does do anything with, for example, PDFs, if you embed a picture in a PDF, the file size is enormous. If you shrink the file first, shrink the picture, and then embed it, it's not so bad. On that little sheet that I sent out to you, that was here earlier, I think I sent it through the chat. And let's see, it's this one right here. I guess I could show you real quickly. Let me get my share screen here real quickly. This one right here. As you can see, this is talking about this particular thing that I was just showing you. This is the link to it. It's a YouTube video. I have another YouTube video about embedding photos into a document. And actually, I've got 19 videos that I've put on YouTube. And if you ever wanted to get a hold of any of them, this is the web link for that. This is my email if you have any question. This is the software I use. And as I said, I previously used InDesign and Quark Express. So, and that's probably enough out of me. So if you have no other question, if you have any questions, now's the time, and otherwise we can hand it over to Rick to close us out.
Any questions, comments? Thank you very much, Jerry. Great job. Yeah, it's sure a great document. I could spend an hour or two reading it every month when it comes out. It's
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of information. Derek, question, comment?
Comment. There's a couple of things here. Does, in the questions, the state provide license to Affinity Publisher for all branches to use? I think the answer to that's no.
Okay.
And somebody, Terry says, I can't open the message link.
It doesn't open.
Okay.
I couldn't open it either.
Oh, I posted it. Let me try again. I don't know if it's going to work. Now that I've got the share, maybe I can do it. This is it right here. And I put it in the chat. I put it to Rick. I'm not sure if I send it to anybody else. Let me see if I can send it to everybody. Oh, that looks like my cousin Ken's here.
Huh.
Let's see, this is it here.
Hi, Jer. Good to see you.
How you doing, Ken?
I'm fine.
Good. So that's, you might have received it now. It just says Sir Happenings. It's a PDF file. And if you open that, it's in the chat. If you open that up, it'll give you the information that I was just showing you.
It's not opening for me.
So we can still go on the state website and open it. So.
Yeah, you can go on the state website if it's there. I didn't know. And my branch website has all that information also. I can give you my branch website. It's servebranch59.org.
Okay. All right, very good. We've finished up day 2. I thank all of you loyal people that's hung in there, all 61 of you, or 60. And I appreciate you spending the time with us. Tomorrow we should have an informative day with Rick Sale talking about constant contacts, and Alan Baker talking about the state website, and Ed will be talking about doing my part. So thank you very much for this afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow unless there's any other comments or questions.
Do you have any actual bocce ball? Is that going to happen or not? The last 2 of them have not showed up.
No, I've been trying to get a hold of Paul, but I'll keep trying, and maybe have something on the last day if we reach him. I would like to see some area tournaments, some region tournaments, and a state tournament eventually, but we're going to need the help of area governors to help put all that together. So,
okay.
The Golden Gate Fields.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, go ahead.
Golden Gate Fields update. I just wanted to let you know that this is a senior days on Fridays through December 12th. but I don't know the future schedule yet. But it looks like Senior Fridays exist.
Okay. Thanks, Lee.
Sure.
All right, very good. I think the rest of us were ready to go. Stu and Derek, would you have a few minutes to hang on at the end and have a little discussion?
Absolutely.
Sure,
Derek?
no problem.
All right, the rest of you can go watch Judge Judy.
That's a horrible threat.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you.
What's unfortunate is they had a poll and Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch announced that 35% of the people polled thought that Judge Judy was on the United States Supreme Court.
Isn't she?
Derek, I just made you host so I can leave.
Okay, doke. Thank you. I'll stop the recording too then.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.